I'm Reverend Jen Wild, and I'm the senior minister here, and it is my honor and my privilege to be with you this afternoon. And I am also honored by these two amazing beings. Thank you both for being with us today. So we have a positive statement we speak into the universe every week when we get together, and it affirms who we are. So please speak this with me now. Slide. We are a vital, vibrant, prosperous, and growing community, and wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. And you are. We speak, we teach, we talk, we walk inclusivity. All people, all walks of life are welcome here. Is there anyone here who is here for the very first time? Please raise your hand. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I hope everybody looked around and looked at them and made them feel uncomfortable, because that was what you were supposed to do. Because after service today, we're going to try and get to you and at least greet you and get to know you. So thank you again for being here. I have a few announcements. This past Wednesday night, members of the New Dawn community met at Bubba's for dinner. And it was very successful. We had approximately 30 people in attendance from our 5:30 to 7:30 time frame. Now, the cool thing about Bubba's, I don't remember if you remember. If you weren't there, you might not remember, but there's a spinning wheel inside the door. So anyone who comes into Bubba's while we're there and wants to give $5 to spin the wheel to possibly get a free entree or whatever, those $5 come to New Dawn. And in addition to that, we received 10% of the total bill of all food and beverage from the evening. And we brought in $317. And the thing I want you to think about with that and remember about that is because all we did was have dinner. We just had dinner. And we laughed, and there's some crazy photos going around, and I'm not going to talk about those right now. Also on this slide, you will see that next Sunday, October the 3rd, our beautiful, beloved Karen Karsh is going to be with us for our music. Next slide, please. Our community is having a picnic. We're creating a picnic. What are we doing? We're going to picnic. We're going to hang out in Buck and Connie Dillinger's yard. And we'll probably overflow into the house because that's what people do. On October the 9th, on Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m., all of you are invited. There's a sign-up sheet out behind the double doors. Please sign up so we know how many people to expect. Meat products and looking like meat but really vegan products are going to be provided, and we're asking everyone to bring a side dish. If you don't get a chance to sign up today, you can email Sharon Jones about it, and she has her information in our weekly newsletter, The Happenings. So what I invite you to do right now is just get present with this space. Forget about where you parked the car, or what happened from home to here, or what's happened since we've been here. Just take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe in that space, that energy. Allow the lungs to fill. Allow the heart and the mind to open up as we turn our attention to the here and the now, and the purpose and the presence of our time together today. Thank you.
As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me, My heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace. As I say a tender yes to everything that comes to me. My heart is open, I am free. I open to all that is. It brings me to my knees. I surrender. I am peace. I surrender. I surrender. I am peace.
Into this knowing, that where I stand is holy ground for spirit, the universe, the creative mind behind all that is seen and unseen is here, is where we begin and where we end. I feel that connection with spirit in my bones. I know that I am made of all that spirit has to offer. And as I know this for myself, I know this for all that are gathered, that are saying a prayer from a mountaintop, a kitchen table, a mosque, the church, a park bench. We are all connected in that one. And in that connection, I know perfection of this time. All that is heard, all that is felt, is exactly as it should be. We are who we are meant to be in this moment. Connected, loved. Reaching deeper into spirit. I am grateful. I am grateful for all the hands that it took to make this service possible. I am grateful for the message that Melissa and Z bring to us, and for the continued guidance of our own Reverend Jen. With love as our highest word, I release this into the law, knowing that this time is blessed. I call it good, I call it perfect, and together we say, and so it is. For our words of inspiration this week, I chose my first quote by Rumi. You are a mirror reflecting a noble face, This universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you are already that. By Shakti Gawain. By learning to connect, contact, listen to, and act on our intuition, we can directly connect to the higher power of the universe and allow it to become our guiding force. And by our founder, Ernest Holmes. We need to know with scientific certainty that there is a consciousness and a power in the universe that responds to us directly and dynamically. Each individual must arrive at a place in his own consciousness where this contact is so immediate and so dynamic that if every other living soul denied it, he would still know.
Very amazing, amazing. I have a few things to say about these amazing spiritual beings who have graced us with their presence today. Reverend Z. Egloff, that's Egloff, is a cartoonist, a spoken word artist, and award-winning author of the spiritual humor blog Life in ZD, a goofball's guide to enlightenment. Their wife, Reverend Dr. Melissa Felipe, is a singer-songwriter and teacher with 9 albums of original music in release. Melissa and Z are founders of Oh My God Life. I told you about this before, so if you were paying attention, most of you already know this. Are the founders of Oh My God Life, an online traveling ministry. Their mission is to bring radical joy to the world and to us. Welcome.
Thank you. So, fortify your faith. Fortify your faith. How do we do that? Well, we're here, right? Spiritual practice. Melissa and I want to talk today about a specific form of spiritual practice that we use that really helps fortify our faith, especially, I don't know, in the last year or two. But in general, it's called the I-Thou practice. So who here knows when I say I-Thou, what that means? Okay, little bit of affirmation there. Okay, well, you're going to know more by the time we're done. So when I was a kid, and I heard, first of all, back up. The I-Thou relationship is about building more of a relationship with the divine, with spirit, whatever you call it, right? Building a relationship. Now, when I was a kid, and I heard about this idea of building a relationship, it was with a very specific entity, right? Named God, white, male, senior citizen, who lived in the sky and occasionally went off his meds. From time to time. And I was supposed to build a relationship with that dude, right? So when I'm a kid and I'm hearing this, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So how do we as modern metaphysicians build a relationship with spirit, especially when there might be just a tad bit of baggage left over from our childhoods, right? How do we work the I-Thou relationship? What does it look like when we do? That's what we're going to talk about today. And Melissa is going to get us started.
So when I was growing up, we went to church every Sunday morning. Not the afternoon for some reason. Every Sunday morning. And I heard about one version of God, and it was that version outside of me, and actually exactly that version that Z described. That's the God I heard about every Sunday. And so then in the 6th grade, my parents very intelligently, in other ways, moved me to a private school. My brother and sister were in public school. They were older than me. My parents figured it out. This one's going to private school. And what private school did they move me to? That church. So then I went to church 6 mornings a week. 5 days a week, when we got to school, we went into the church, big church, and had a church service. Good times. Now, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, you're kind of starting to think differently, like you're starting to listen to what the older people are saying, and you're starting to think, what do I think about that? Are they making sense? And so when I was hearing about this version of God outside of me that was all loving and also was going to send my best friend Donna Abrahams to hell because she was Jewish, what? It just really ticked me off. That was my reaction. I mean, I think it was confusing, but in those ages, what I experienced was rage. So much so that I really will never know how much that rage contributed to my becoming a full-blown drug addict at the age of 13. Yeah, now I know that's really young. Yeah. And at the same time, of course, I turned away entirely from all things spiritually related. Wasn't having it. Didn't make sense. Wasn't a good thing. Now, the very good news for me, and maybe this morning for you, but for sure for me, 32 years ago on July 31st that just passed, I got clean and sober. Yay. Thank you. And very soon after getting clean, I found metaphysics, Centers for Spiritual Living, all those philosophies. And I started listening and hearing about a new version of God. This version of God was all loving, truly all loving, and it was all that is, everything that ever had been, ever would be, was this one. And if that was true, it also stood to reason that this God, this version, was also right here in me. I had not heard that, and it really worked for me. I also was still not hearing about the God outside of me, right? The one I would have relationship with. And that really worked for me as well, because that version of God, it didn't sit well with me. So it worked for me to hear about this version of God everywhere, all present, and in me. Now, since then, we have learned about the philosophy. The philosopher Ken Wilber is an American philosopher still alive today, came up with this philosophy or theory about the three faces of God or the divine. Face one of the divine is spirit as everything, all that is, the we, he calls it. Spirit as we, everything all the time. And face number two, the second face of God, is God as I. That same thing. If spirit is everywhere, then it's right here, right? It's all that is happening right here. And there is a third face of the divine, God as you. This version of spirit that is outside of me. Now, here's the cool thing about being a metaphysician. If you're a metaphysician, which I'm imagining you all are, we get to learn to become, or not, but there is just the reality of the paradox. We can become comfortable with it or not, because it's kind of hard to get comfortable with. But the paradox is, yes, there is this power, this presence that is all that is. It is right here in me, and it is outside of me. So I can have a relationship with it. The you, God as you, right? What I love about these three faces of the divine is that when I honor all of them, I experience myself as having a three-dimensional relationship with spirit. It's richer for me. How this happened is that many years ago, I finally, after many years before that, being called to ministerial school and saying no, I succumbed, I surrendered, and I said, okay, if you won't shut up already, I'll go. I have no idea why. And soon after, actually right at the beginning, I met Z. Here we are. We took a class together during that time, and in that class there was a guided meditation. And in that guided meditation, we were invited to sit and hang out and be with Spirit. And it was really powerful for me. Now, at one point in this meditation, he invited us to ask Spirit, as long as we were hanging out, Spirit, what is the name for me that is my perfect name to call you? What is my name for you? And I heard very clearly the answer for me, the All. And it just made me weep. So the next morning, I took a walk, and as I am wont to do when I take a walk every day, I do my prayer practice. And on this morning, instead of saying, Spirit is all that is, there is one power, one presence, it is all power and all the presence, and so it is also right here where I am. Instead of that, I started my prayer with, good morning, the All. You are all that is, and it is you that is right here as me. It did a different thing through me, and it felt like it burst my heart open and love poured through in a way that my previous prayers hadn't felt like. It just really was different for me. And so I kept praying that way. But after a while of praying that way, the All started to feel a little cumbersome and long. Every time I wanted to refer to God, God's a nice short word, the All just felt sort of long, right? So one morning I'm walking and I said to Spirit, okay, so I'm hoping this isn't blasphemous, but I'm wondering if, since the All just sort of feels kind of long, if I can call you Ta, the first letter of each word, the and all, Ta. And I heard like a booming laughter. This is like the movies, right? I heard this laughter and then, I do not care what you call me. And so I now refer in my personal practice to Spirit as Ta, or the All. Now, what I love about this is when we're in relationship with a human being, we often, over time and deepening of intimacy, have a nickname for them, right? Like that's a thing that happens. In our household, I know if I hear, hey, Melissa, come out of Z's mouth, I am in trouble. Because my name in our house is Baby. And vice versa, I call Z Baby. That's just my name for Z. So if Z hears Z, same deal. They've done something. Yeah. How do we do that? Like, how do we connect deeper and deeper and deepen this intimacy and develop and consciously choose to go deeper? How do we do this? We do it like we do relationships with people. We spend time and we talk and we listen. That's how we get more and more deeply into intimacy with a human being, right? So that's what we consciously do with Spirit. All right, so we also have these specific 3 hacks to quicken the experience of this deepening. First of all, of course, we'll be familiar with you in these rooms, and that is we set our intention. We set our intention to have a closer relationship with Spirit. And then I recommend, because of how powerful it's been for both C and I, that you ask Spirit in a time when you've been spending a little time and you might hear them more clearly, Spirit, what is the name you would have me, my personal name for you? What is it, my name for you? And then thirdly, there's a specific prayer that Z and I pray that we love so much. You know, metaphysicians, we pray for things, right? We pray for parking places and jobs and health and other people and the world. We pray for things. But what we weren't praying for until quite a few years ago now, but a long time of praying before we thought of it, we now include first in our prayers, Spirit. Deepen my walk with you. Deepen my walk with you. Now, here's the cool thing that I love about that prayer. It handles everything else. When we have a deeper experience, a deeper commitment, a deeper intimacy with Spirit, you know how when a friend calls you on the phone, you recognize their voice right away, right? So we have that with Spirit over time, more and more fully. I know what's my egoic structure self saying, oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. And what's Spirit, what's Ta saying to me? You want that. Deepen my walk with you covers everything because we get better and better at listening and being guided by that intuition that is Spirit within us. And as we listen and follow that directive from the divine, everything else is better. It's our cover-all prayer. So, to talk more about the all and relationship and deepening, and to tell you a little story about it, I give you Reverend Baby.
It's too soon for the... He's going to come in, but not till later, if you can... Okay. I love the I-thou relationship. It's been so powerful for me to really deepen that connection with Spirit. One of my favorite things about it is getting what I call downloads from Spirit, especially when I meditate, getting those messages from Spirit, from the divine. When Melissa and I were just about to graduate from ministerial school, I got one particular download that really changed everything for us. And in order for the download to make sense, I first have to tell you a story about a cat. What a surprise. Got a little sneak preview of that. This was about over 20 years ago. I was coming out of a bad breakup, and I decided that what I needed to help me feel better was a cat. I'd lost our cat in the breakup, and I said, okay, I need a cat, you know, something little furry thing to love. That's gonna make me feel better. And you know how cats are, they choose you, right? That's how had been my experience. Come to my place of work, or someone says, hey, do you need a cat? Or some cat just walks up and says, you, right? So I was waiting for that. I'm open, like, come on, Spirit, bring me my cat. Not happening. So I finally say, okay, my cat's not gonna come to me, I'm gonna go to my cat. So I go to the local pet shelter, and they had a room with about 30 cats in one room, which I don't know how the cats put up with that, really. But, you know, they did. And so, probably because they had to. And so I go and I find this cute little kitty cat. It's cute, gorgeous little kitty cat. I pick her up and she's so cuddly and sweet and little tortoiseshell. And I said, okay, that's my cat. And the people said, well, that cat's already taken. I know, right? Come on now. So I said, okay, all right. And they said, well, here's the thing. There's another cat over here. Looks just like that cat. Why don't you try that cat out? So I go to the other cat, and I pick her up. She did look a lot like the first cat, and I pet her for a little bit, and then she bites me pretty hard, so I put her down. And I said, I'll take her. I really wanted my cat, and I wanted my cat now, so I said, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. All right, well, not so fast, though, because this place had some serious hoops to jump through. First of all, I had to give them 2 names, 2 references, and they had to call them and speak to them to make sure that I was a proper cat owner. Actually, Jay Leno used to say, dogs have owners, cats have staff, right? So I had to make sure I was proper cat staff material, right? So they did, got my references, called them, no problem. Then I had to also sign my name, like basically sign my name in blood, saying I will never return this cat to this shelter ever, for any reason, and I won't give the cat away to anybody else either, because they aren't properly vetted, right? Now, I never had to do all this with a cat before, but I said, okay, I need this cat, so I'm gonna do this. Signed all the forms, bring the cat home. I named her Lucy. 2 days later, a friend of mine calls and says, I found the perfect cat for you. And I said, okay. She said, no, you just have to go see. So I said, okay. I was kind of curious at this point. So I go to this little pet store, teeny little pet store, and they have this orange male tabby. He's adorable. He doesn't attack me and bite me, and he's super easy to adopt. Now, my plan was not to get 2 cats, but I just thought at this point, it seems the second one just was so easy. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bring him home too. So I bring him home, I name him Max. I got Lucy, I got Max, and there's just one problem, which is they hate each other. It was mostly Lucy, actually, who hated Max. And I'm in a small space, right, coming out of this breakup, and they were driving me crazy. The vet that I was taking them to said, sometimes tortoiseshells, Lucy was a tortoiseshell, sometimes they make better only children. They just have that personality, kind of like calicos for you pet cat owners who know about this. Well, I couldn't take Lucy back though, right? Signed my name in blood. So it broke my heart, but I had to give Max to a friend of mine because this was just the only solution. So now it's me and Lucy. And Lucy was a tough little gal. A friend of mine used to say it looked like she'd done time. She just had this face. It was this funny thing. She had a tendency to bite. Who knew, right? What a surprise. She bites. And a lot of cats have a tell, like when they're gonna do it. Not Lucy. You just never knew, and it was kind of scary, and it would hurt. But I'm a cat person. I made do. Fast forward 13 years later, now Melissa has joined the party. It's me, our little family, Melissa and me and Lucy. And Melissa and I are about to graduate from ministerial school, and one day, in meditation, I get a download. And the download from Spirit says, all right, y'all are about to start this ministry. You can approach your ministry one of 2 ways. So you can approach your ministry like you did getting Lucy, where you go out and you make it happen on your time. And if you do that, it's gonna be good in a lot of ways, right? Lucy, you've had good times with Lucy, but it's also gonna tend to bite from time to time. Or you can approach your ministry like every other cat you ever got, letting it happen on Spirit's time. And if you do that, things are gonna go much better. Now, when I first got this download, a lot of times my downloads were like a direct message. Well, this one also had all this other stuff going on because I had never thought of that. I had never put that together. That Lucy was the one cat where I'd made it happen, right? And it was the most difficult cat staff relationship that I'd had. I'd never even thought about that. So that was one thing to ponder. Then, a few months after I get this download, Lucy died. Suddenly and unexpectedly, which I have to say was very much like her, right? Sudden moves, never know what to expect. The vet told us there was nothing we could have done. She had a heart deficiency. She lived as long as she could. All right. So here we are. We're about to start our ministry, and we've been given pretty specific instructions from Spirit, right? Now, when Spirit said don't push, we knew what that meant because we're creatives. We're going to be making music. I'm going to be writing, doing art, all that kind of stuff. We're still going to be creating things at home. But we knew when Spirit said don't push, it meant don't try to make this thing out in the world thing happen, right? So the question is, did we listen? Well, we got a little freaked out, especially about money, because we're this new ministry. How are we going to make money? We have to do other things for money, right? So we made a few calls, and by we, I mean Melissa. Melissa's the phone person, gets on the phone. Hi, this is Melissa Felipe. Hi. Yes, it's great to talk to you too. You remember me from doing music? Yeah. Well, I wanted to let you know I'm a minister now too. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I know, it's really fun. I'm doing ministry with my wife. I know, it surprised me too. I didn't have a wife last time we talked. Yes, I know, yeah. My wife's name is Z. Just the letter Z, yeah, I know. It's a little different, yeah. They are a minister as well. Oh, no, there's just one Z. Z identifies as gender rich. Whole lot of gender going on, yeah. And uses the singular they as a pronoun. I know, it's also a little different, yeah. Well, anyway, I wanted to let you know what we're doing. So we have a new ministry, and we're going out in the world, and we're doing talk and music at centers, and musically, we're doing something a little different. I'm singing, but Z has joined me now, and Z does spoken word. Hello? Hello? Yeah, see, it didn't go very well. When we tried to tell people, this is what we do, you should have us come, it didn't work. So finally, about a year into our ministry, we said, hey, we're ministers. Maybe we should listen to Spirit. 100% to surrender to Spirit, right? Not 95%, but 100, because there's kind of a big difference between 95 and 100%. So let's do this thing. Let's try actually listening to what Spirit said all the way. And it wasn't all at once. But gradually, more and more, we started to get calls from people who knew about us already and liked what we did and wanted us to come. And we also started getting calls about things we thought we had decided that we didn't want to do, we don't want to do retreats. We don't want to do workshops. But we get these calls saying, you'd be perfect for our retreat. So we said, okay, we're doing the surrender thing. And then we did the retreat or the workshop, and we said, well, we really like doing this kind of thing. And then we keep following Spirit's guidance, and we're doing online and traveling. So we're working at home, and we're creating this stuff, and we're starting to put things out on Facebook and YouTube and media, and then we're going out in the world, and we start to watch how we're following Spirit's guidance, and all this stuff starts to come together in a way that's really magical, kind of like a puzzle or something, watching the pieces come together. And we'd be out in the world, and people would say, wow, the structure, the way you have this all going, it's really just marvelous. And we'd say, I know, right? This isn't ours, this is Spirit. It's so much smarter than we are, right? And then the other thing is, because now we're 100% surrendering, there's that metaphor for faith, that faith is like you're driving a car in fog, and you can only see what your headlights show you, right? And you just have to go on faith and I'm just gonna keep moving forward, even I can only see this far ahead, right? Well, for us, a lot of times, it felt like we couldn't even see that far ahead because we really didn't know what was up. So it was like we only could see that far ahead, and it really was a matter of needing to just take our hands off the wheel and let Spirit drive, which was scary, but it also started to feel more and more magical. Now, at the same time all this surrendering's going on, I'm in Ohio visiting my parents, and Melissa, we're in California. She's in California. She's going shopping. She runs into a friend of ours who says, hey, by any chance, do you want a cat? And Melissa says, well, we love cats. We don't have a cat now. Long story. But yeah. She calls me in Ohio. She sends me a picture. And I said, oh my God, that's our cat. And she said, I know, right? That night, later on, I get a download from Spirit. And Spirit says, that cat's name is Max. And I said, no, it's not, because as we've established now, I like to talk back to Spirit. I like to argue. I said, no, that cat can't be named Max because we've already had a cat named Max. The next morning, Melissa calls me and she says, this is going to sound weird, but I'm getting the intuition that that cat's name is Max. So Max came home to live with us. And needless to say, he is the most amazing cat we've ever had. So sweet and wonderful. And when we were putting this talk together, I finally realized why his name is Max. Because the first Max that I got was the more surrendered one, right? Friend just calls, you want this cat. And in fact, I couldn't keep him because I'd already pushed with Lucy. I'd already wedded myself to this other, more difficult cat. So I had to give the first one up, right? The more surrendered version. But it's never too late to surrender to Spirit. And so Spirit was like, you get another Max. So I know you got a preview, but we have a picture here now of our guy. Here he is. This is our little rubber-nosed prince, we call him. And he's our ministry's mascot. He is the mascot for our ministry. Because anytime we start to want to argue with Spirit, or we get scared, or we don't want to take our hands off the wheel, we just look at this little guy. We look in those eyes, and it reminds us we're safe. And surrender is not giving up. When we surrender to Spirit, it is empowered. It is empowered surrender. Because when we surrender to Spirit, life just keeps getting better and better and better all the time. Not just for us, but for everyone in our orbit. And it doesn't bite. So please repeat after me. Spirit is so much smarter than I am. And it is never too late to surrender to Spirit.
It is never too late to surrender to Spirit.
Let us pray.
Spirit, deepen my walk with you. Spirit, deepen my walk with you. Let me hear you. Let me feel you. Oh, Spirit, deepen my walk with you.
Sweet Spirit, you are all that is. Loving peace, peaceful love, powerful abundance, abundant power. You are in and as me and everyone here in this room, seen and unseen and beyond. You are manifesting perfectly, beautifully, gloriously as all of creation. And so I speak a word right here, right now, for everyone hearing these words, that we deepen our walk with you now. We set that intention. We open to the name that you would have us call you. And we open in prayer to that deeper walk. And as we do so, we hear your voice. We know what to do and not do, say and not say. And this blesses our lives and the lives of everyone we encounter. And I am grateful. I am grateful for this blessing. I am grateful for this walk.
Let me hear you. Let me feel you. Oh, Spirit. Deepen my walk with you.
And I release this prayer to you now. If you are in alignment, please repeat after me. Amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
And so it is.
One of our favorite examples of the I-thou relationship and that walk with the divine is the story of Harriet Tubman. So we wrote a song about her.
No matter where your journey's starting from, there is a voice calling you.
True story. When Harriet Tubman first escaped from slavery, she heard a voice that said, "I want you to help free others." Do you know what Harriet Tubman said to that voice? She said, "No." She said, "Not me." She said, "I can't. I can't." But the voice wouldn't let up. It wouldn't let her be. "I want you to help free others. I want you to help free others." Finally, Harriet Tubman, the woman who would be known as Moses, said yes. Yes. Walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night, step by step. She followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
You gotta walk by faith, not by sight. Listening every step of the way. Walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guiding light.
True story. Harriet Tubman, with the help of the Union Army, once freed 750 enslaved people in one day. Can you imagine 750 people? Moses brought them home. The voice of Spirit doesn't mess around. When you listen to that voice, you are never the same. When you listen to that voice, you are free. And it doesn't stop there. You take others with you. The 750 are still alive today. They're your sisters and your brothers in struggle and in pain. They're your doubts and your fears when you say, "I can't," but you can. And you will. when you walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night, step by step. She followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
You gotta walk by faith, not by sight. Listening every step of the way. Walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guiding light. No matter where your journey's starting from, there is a voice calling you, taking you home. You gotta
Walk by faith, not by sight. Moses walked in the middle of the night, step by step. She followed a voice. She couldn't shut it off. She didn't have a choice. It told her when to move. It told her when to wait. She was walking in its footsteps. She was walking in its grace. It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
walk on into the night. Let that northern star be your guide.
It wasn't just her people Moses led through the night. It was anyone who's ever walked by faith and not by sight.
Wow. So when we are inspired, when our souls are fed, when we can come together in a situation like this, in an environment like this, and have this beautiful music and these beautiful spoken words come to us and touch us, we walk away with gratitude. And so as you just breathe that in right now, we're going to move into our offering. And if you have it with you, you can place it over your heart, because it is that space of heart where we give from always, always. And if you don't have it with you, just place your hand over your heart as we speak our affirmation. Joyously, I give this gift, knowing the presence of God blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.